Hello and welcome to the SWRA podcast, where aging, wellness, and wisdom intersect. I am Maggie Lazar, your host, and I am delighted to have you on. If you are a new listener, I welcome you. And if you are a returning one, I welcome you back with open arms. Here on these podcasts, we just think more deeply about things, and these are short and sweet, and hopefully you're enjoying them. So please remember to like, even if it's a podcast, share, and subscribe. All right. Today, I thought I'd give you a break from looking at my face, right? But let's talk about some myths. A myth is something people believe without any proof, right? Maybe something that's been passed down, something that you believe in your head. And then you're like, is this really true? That's a myth because you don't have anything to substantiate that belief of whatever it is. Let's talk about some some myths in old age. All right. Myth number one, it would be, well, if I do 1, 2, 3, that means I am guaranteed a long life. Sis, who told you that? We wish that life would be so predictable, don't we? That if I do A, B is going to happen. But I don't know about you, but from where I'm sitting, it just doesn't work that way. A plus B does not always equal C. And you could take an analogy from religion, for example. You know how some people would say, oh, well, I know in some faith, some churches would say, well, if you pay your tithes, God is going to multiply it and you're not going to get sick and blah, blah, blah. And they do the same thing when they're putting that guilt trip on you and say, well, you not getting this because you didn't pay your tithes. And we know that is not true. It's just a way to control you. At least I know that. I hope you do. But when you say, okay, if I eat well, and eating well is another bull of wax, you could eat well, or you can restrict yourself so much so that you end up hurting yourself, and that is not good. So let's say you're eating a really varied and healthy, well-balanced eating plan. I hate the word diet, right? So that's one thing. And if you say, oh, I exercise, I go to the gym and I work every single day, I work out, and definitely that's a guarantee that I'm going to live long, right? And then the other thing you could say, oh, we already talked about eating, but I do all these other things. I get enough sleep, I try to manage my stress. You do all the things that you are told to do, and then boom, you get sick. So how do you wrap your head around that? And I know we see a bunch of vegans come up with, like some kind of cancer. Lung cancer is one of them. And we're like, what is the correlation? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't think I watched a video of this chef, who developed lung cancer, and she was talking to another vegan, and they were like, because inquiring minds want to know. They were asking them, how does this happen? You're the picture of health and you just training us to just do all these things. How does that happen to you? Well, you need to understand there are no guarantees in life. So you could do everything right and still your life derails. How many of us have done our best for our kids and then they turn around and turn bad? Kids can kill you. You've heard some kids killing their parents. How does that happen? How are you a Christian? You're serving God, and then you have a child who becomes a murderer. These things should make you stop and think that a lot of things in this life are myths, things that we believe because we want to believe it and we want the outcome. But there are no guarantees in life, sis. The only thing we can do is do the best we can. Now, there is the other side of the coin that some people just don't care and they're just living vicariously and doing everything. And things don't happen to them a lot. And you're saying that's just not fair. I'm with you, sis. I'm with you. But I guess we only talked about one myth, meaning if I do all these things, I am guaranteed a long life. I'm guaranteed I'm not going to get sick. Let's just stop right there. No, there is no guarantee, sis. That's why you do the best you can and you release it. You give it up to God because none of us, there is no guarantee as to how long we're going to live. And my mother always said, my wise mom, we know how we come into this world. We do not know how we're going to leave it. So we do the best we can. We have SWRA. We try to support each other, but we don't know what the end game is going to look like. You can only control what you can, sis. So when it comes to your health, longevity, let's just do the best we can and release the rest because it is out of your control. Right, sis? All right. So go out there, continue to be a good human because it's a good thing to do. And when you spread kindness, it will come back to you in ways you really don't expect it. All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow. God loves you. You know I love you. Au revoir. À la prochaine. Bye.